starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the San Francisco Giants in the second game of a 4-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Giants, left-hander Carson Whisenhunt, and for the Padres, an opener, right-hander Bradley Rodriguez. Hi, good everybody. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40 p.m., or I should say, 6:45 p.m. a little bit later with the national TV broadcast today as we get ready for today's game on a beautiful Friday evening here in downtown San Diego. A lot to do in the next 50 minutes. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll hear from Padres infielder, sometimes outfielder, Luis Rengifo. Plus we hear from Padres starting pitcher Griffin Canning as well. And we check in with Tony Gwynn Jr. in just a few minutes inside the Padres radio booth. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 55-54. They entered this series having won 5 in a row. They entered today 2 games out of a wild card spot in the National League. San Diego has been within 3 games of 500 in either direction for more than a month now. Giants, meanwhile, come in 47-62. Giants playing a little bit of better baseball lately. They arrived in San Diego having won 2 straight series against the Brewers and the Angels. Giants certainly appear to be sellers at the trade deadline. That deadline now under 72 hours away. Padres have not played all that well against the Giants so far this season. Padres have dropped 4 out of 7 games against San Francisco so far in 2026. We had the series opener at Petco Park yesterday between these two teams. Let's quickly rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Left-hander J.P. Sears started the game for San Diego last night. He got in some trouble in the first inning. The Giants put runners on first and third with 1 man away. That brought up Rafael Devers.
1-2 pitch, hit in the air to right field, straight away and deep. Fernando racing back. He's on the track at the wall. He will leap up, and he made the catch. Tatis robs a homer. He slipped and fell. Ramos will tag and score, and we're going to hang a star on a sac fly because Fernando Tatis Jr. just took away a 3-run homer from Rafael Devers.
You betcha.
That's all the Giants would score in the first inning. Could have been a 3-run home run instead of sac fly. Let's go to the second. Willie Adames hit a leadoff single against Sears. Daniel Susac was next.
First pitch swinging, hits it in the air, deep to left field. This one is way back, and it's going to go. Yesterday against the Brewers, he hit his first 2 major league home runs. Now he's got 3, and it's a 2-run shot in the second inning. The Giants lead 3-0.
Giants led 3-0 going bottom 2. The Padres had a runner on third base with 2 outs against Giants starter Robbie Ray. Xander Bogaerts at the plate.
Ray comes home, and the first pitch line the other way into right center and a base hit. France will come in to score, and Xander Bogaerts gets the Padres on the board. RBI single here in the second inning. It's 3-1.
Giants led 3-1 after 2 innings. The score would stay 3-1 for a while, even though the Giants had plenty of opportunities. They stranded 2 on base in the third. They left the bases loaded in the 4th inning. They put 2 on with nobody out in the 5th inning. They would score a run on a Susac sac fly to make it 4-1 in the 5th. Meanwhile, Robbie Ray really good. 6 innings, just the 1 run allowed. That was sort of the whole story of the game. The Giants bullpen did not allow a run. Randy Vasquez did go 4 2/3 scoreless innings in relief, which helped save the Padre bullpen. But yesterday, the final score, Giants 4, Padres 1. Padres had their 5-game win streak come to an end, and now the Padres try to get back in the win column here today with first pitch coming your way at 6:45. As we get ready for this one in downtown San Diego, let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Tony, let's start with a bit of a wider look at the Padres pitching strategy right now, last couple of days, and it'll be the same way here tonight with Bradley Rodriguez opening the game. Sounds like a pretty good chance we could see German Marquez on the mound at some point as well. Third day in a row, Tony, they're going to employ this strategy. Your overall thoughts on A, the strategy, B, how it's working, and I suppose the sustainability of doing something like this throughout at least a little more time, and obviously we'll get some clarity on the rotation once the trade deadline comes and goes.
Yeah, let's start with the last part first. I think it's not sustainable. You just, especially given when it started. You know, it's been Detroit's last season has been referenced quite a bit, but they started theirs a little bit later. They didn't start in July kind of rolling with this strategy. It wasn't really until like the last month, maybe a little bit more, that they were able to kind of run it out and it worked. We're starting in July. I don't see it being able to last that long. In terms of its effectiveness, it's been very effective. I think they have kind of, I would say, changed it up a little bit. It started off as kind of a permanent opener and then a bulk guy. It's kind of been a little bit more of a flexible system in terms of first guy goes out, he goes well and he's doing well. Try to get as much out of him as you can, and I think that part of it has worked well. And listen, it's been out of necessity. You know, I think had German Marquez, Griffin Canning, Randy Vasquez thrown the ball well enough, this is not something the Padres want to do, but they also want to win, and they feel like this gives them the best chance. And I commend this staff for being flexible and not continuing to do the same thing over and over again, hoping it changes.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tony. I commend the buy-in, and we'll hear a little bit more about that from Griffin Canning a little bit later in our pregame, and we'll see if it can work out today in a win. Let's talk about Bradley Rodriguez. Just feels like a good day to talk about Bradley with him opening today. It's the fourth time he'll start a game this season. The first three starts he's made, he's done a good job, a scoreless inning to begin the game in each. Tony, just your overall thoughts on Bradley Rodriguez. This is a young right-hander that has really accepted any role he's been given, and he's been extremely effective for the most part in any role he's been given this year.
Yeah, I think this is really good for a young reliever to pitch in the different roles that he has pitched. Because, you know, with Adrian Mortejon's pending free agency, unless something crazy happens and the Padres are able to bring him back, that's going to be a role that's available. And it's not to say that Bradley slides into that, but he has pitched in a bunch of different roles this season. So I think this is another example of, you know, the Padres trying to give him as much experience. He has a great arm. He's got a great changeup. And I think he's worked well out of this particular role. And so he's worn about three different hats in terms of the type of roles he's pitched in this year. And I think it's going to all be of value to him as he continues to get more innings under his belt.
Tony, let's talk about the Padres offense a little bit. It's been certainly a little bit more quiet last couple of days. They had the win against Colorado. They scored 3 runs. They had a loss yesterday. They scored 3 runs. They will face a guy in left-hander Carson Wisenhunt, who they have not seen before. We've seen the Padres over the last handful of years struggle at times with guys that they have not seen before. Has there been anything different to you about the Padres offense last couple of games, or is this a simple situation of an ebb and flow of a baseball season, or at least a stretch of games?
I think it's an ebb and flow. I mean, obviously, you want the offense to continue to play as well as we've seen them play, but there is going to be days where the guy on the bump is just better. And Robbie Ray was better last night than the Padres. They didn't really get off very many good swings. And I think that's a credit to Robbie Ray and the way he threw the baseball. I'm looking at tonight and seeing how this offense responds. It's not necessarily the game last night that concerns me. What would concern me is if we see the same thing or similar things from them today. And certainly Padres don't have very much margin for error. So I think as tough as maybe last night was, I think it's so much more important to see this offense get back to doing what we've seen them do over the past 2, 3, maybe a little bit longer weeks.
Yeah, I'm with you. If the Padres have a quiet offensive night tonight, it won't be, an emergency per se, but it would raise a little bit, I think, of concern that maybe the offense is cooling off a little bit. Certainly yesterday, understandable, having a quiet night against left-hander Robbie Ray. Tony, appreciate the time. As always, good job on that first question, by the way, because I realized as it was coming out of my mouth, I've got A, B, C, D. It's like a 4-pronged question. What am I doing? I mean, you would think in year 5, brother, I'd present you with the simple question, but not always the case. Tony, appreciate the time. I'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 6:35 before the second game of this series. Thanks so much.
Take care, Sam.
All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. What am I doing? I'm saying A, B, C. Tony, how about this, that? Gotta keep it simple, what am I doing with my interview questions here? Anyway, when we come back, we'll take our first look at the Padres lineup here today. We will hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do as we get ready for first pitch coming your way at 6:45, game 2 of this 4-game series between the Padres and the San Francisco Giants. Our pregame coverage from Petco Park continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch coming up at 6:45 between the Padres and the San Francisco Giants. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Game 2 of this 4-game series as the Padres try to bounce back after losing yesterday's series opener. Take a look at the Padres lineup here today. It looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Luis Rengifo at second base batting second. Manny Machado at third base batting third. Ty France at first base batting cleanup. Jackson Merrill in center field batting fifth. Luis Campusano DHing and batting sixth. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting seventh. Freddie Fermin doing the catching and batting eighth. And Jace Bowen in left field today batting ninth, with right-hander Bradley Rodriguez starting today's game. He'll open, you would assume, and we'll hear from Craig on this in a second, but you would assume that there's a pretty good chance German Marquez will appear at some point in this game, and young left-hander Carson Whisenhunt on the mound today for San Francisco. With all that in mind, let's go downstairs and hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen before today's game.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Craig, let's start with the guy on the mound starting today, Bradley Rodriguez. Why was Bradley the right choice to open up today's game?
Yeah, we're, doing our mixed match of pitching, and we decided we liked him at the top of the lineup against who we suspected would be at the top of their lineup. He's one of our best pitchers, and we want him facing some of their best hitters.
Bradley is still such a young pitcher. He's really been thrown into, I think, a variety of situations this season, high leverage opening games. Can you speak to how impressive it's been to watch him not just have success, but really take on so many different roles?
Yeah, you're right. That is impressive. But he's a tough kid, mentally tough kid, handles any situation that we've thrown at him. It is his first full season in the big league, so there's a tax to that of, just getting used to the day-to-day grind, but he's handled it very well, and we expect good things out of him the rest of the year.
Still going with this pitching by committee situation, at least for tonight. Can German Marquez play a role in today's game?
Yeah, he's part of the bullpen just like everybody else, and he has the ability to give us some length out of the pen. We'll see if, his number gets called today.
Craig, obviously it's a big few days coming up with the trade deadline, but if you go back, you look at the past month or so, your team, you've kind of hovered around 500 one way or the other, 3 games going both ways. To you, no matter what happens around the deadline, what'll be the key of sort of taking off in the final 2 months of the season in the right direction?
Yeah, I think we've kind of started to show, our style of baseball, and if we play that style of baseball, we have a better chance of winning. We showed that in Miami. We showed the first 2 days in Colorado, that 5-game stretch. And I would even take it back to Atlanta when we lost 3 out of 4. We played the right way. And, we played that way. I think over the course of time, we'll get more wins and losses.
Luis Campusano DHing today with Freddie catching. Can you speak to how important Luis is from what he can do from an offensive standpoint for this lineup?
Yeah, he just adds an element in that catcher's position tonight as a DH. He's a bat that could do damage at any point, and he's been taking great at bats. He's been working some walks. He's been great with 2-out, 2-strike hitting. So we just trust him with the bat, and want to get that extra bat in the lineup against the lefty today.
DH is definitely a position. It's got a unique skill set to it for a guy who's used to, a catcher especially, used to being involved in literally every pitch. How does he adjust to? He's got 4 at-bats versus being in there for, 250 pitches in a game.
Yeah, while it's the first time Campy's done that this year, it's not the first time he's done that in the past. In fact, he DH'd quite a bit last year. So I think he's got his own routine in that and the ability to do that, but that's the hardest part of DHing, is being able to stay focused for the whole entire game, because you're only going to get 4 or 5 at-bats, and how do you make those 4 or 5 at-bats impactful in the game when you're not out there every single pitch on defense?
Talk to Titus a little bit. He was talking us through the mechanical change that he made, just simple as lift his hands, don't let the load go back. When you get something that simple in baseball, is that kind of just what this game is about, or it can be a difference of an inch one way or another that leads to success versus struggling?
Yeah, you're 100% right. You could probably go through every guy in our lineup right now, from when they were struggling to when they're hitting good. Hey, what mechanical adjustment or what thought did you make? And it's yeah, you should have thought of that a long time ago. How simple that is and how clear it is. But I think that's kind of what baseball is. It's just making those small adjustments and tweaks, and trying to see what the other team's doing against you and make an adjustment to that too. That little cat and mouse game. It's a cat and mouse game in your own brain with your own self and your own body, and a cat and mouse game against the other team also.
With this pitching plan, how much are you going into a game where you're like, all right, I got 5 guys in mind, I just don't know what order I'm going to use them, versus I really have no idea how this is going to play out, and anybody's available unless they threw 50 pitches yesterday?
Yeah, I think here lately we've planned it out a little bit more, where we have an order per se that could change on a dime, but for the most part we have an idea of how, if the game goes the way we want it to, it'll go this way. And we've had 4 or 5 games that have kind of gone to script. Last night was probably not one that went to script, and we had to make some adjustments. And Randy probably pitched longer than we were expecting at the beginning of the day, but ended up having a great outing and really saving the rest of our pen.
Having Jeremiah back, is he a guy who's going to be the one-inning high-leverage guy, or do you envision him possibly on occasion going multiple innings as well?
Yeah, he can definitely go multiple innings. I think coming off the IL, we've got to be careful with him. We can't pitch him every single day. We can't pitch him 2-3 innings at a time. We got to ease him back into it, but he's definitely one of our higher leverage guys that we're counting on.
Will Joe throw a bullpen tomorrow?
Joe and Nick will probably both throw a bullpen today if throwing goes well today.
Okay.
How's it been assessing the recovery of these guys who are going like 3 or 4? Because usually it's usually like you're starting or you're throwing one. Like a guy like Kyle Hart, like how do you assess when they're available, how they're available based on what they did?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing is asking the player. Second biggest thing is maybe my personal experience with it and to know if they're lying or not, which most of the time they are. And then I think we also have everything's got an algorithm to it. We've got a way to try to monitor, how much stress an outing puts on somebody and what that stress looks like over the course of a short period of time.
Just to clarify, with the bullpen for Nick and Joe, you said they throw today, bullpen today or bullpen tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Scheduled tomorrow based on how they do today.
What goes into knowing after say a 3-inning outing? What things do you look for a guy?
How many pitches, how many times he went out to the mound or got up. Sometimes you'll pitch 3 innings but ended up going into a different inning 4 times, so that extra up adds something to it. Previous day's workload, previous times up in the pen where they didn't go in the game, that kind of stuff.
Is there then there's guys you assume you don't want to use, but then are there guys that are could use, but a yellow light?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of yellow lights these days. So
that's just kind of a product of the.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a product of the symptom or a product of the system, and then also, we got to check in with these guys daily. I think at the beginning I said communication was going to be the number one priority in this, and that's a big part of it.
When Jeremiah is fully eased back, what could that mean for a guy like Morahone, who's had a pretty decent workload throughout the season at times?
Yeah, I think you get those are four highest leverage guys: Mason, Adrian, Jeremiah, and Bradley, all in the same bullpen at the same time. You would hope you wouldn't have to use all 4 on the same day every single time that we're in a winning situation. So, maybe that limits one of them on a day, or one of them's down for the day. They get the extra day of rest. The other 3 can pick it up, and that's kind of hopefully how we can manage this thing going forward.
But Jason off that list, is he still a ways away?
Yeah, Jason's still a ways away, but Jason's in that mix at the beginning of the season was definitely a part of that mix. We had, that's probably why our bullpen was so effective early in the year. Not that it's not effective now, but it was really effective then, as we had 5 of those guys to manage, the last 3 or 4 innings of the game.
When it comes to the trade deadline, how different is your input as manager than when you were in baseball ops working right with AJ?
It's probably not a ton different, honestly. AJ keeps everything pretty close to his chest. It's more, I'm in the know more now than I was before. So, yeah, but still, I'm not making the decision. He's making the decision. He's just throwing ideas off me and seeing what I think.
What day will Scooball be starting for you?
He's a great pitcher. Who knows if the Tigers trade him? Obviously, you want the best pitcher in baseball, or one of the best pitchers of baseball on your team, but it's not as easy as just trading for him. Nice question.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. Hey, you never know, right? Maybe we will see Tarek Skubal in a Padre uniform by the time Monday evening rolls around. You never know with A.J. Preller at the helm. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. Sam Levitt back with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch is coming up at 6:45. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Let's begin with a look at the hot category. Couple of guys in there today. Jackson Merrill batting .429 with 5 home runs, 2 doubles, 10 RBIs in his last 11 games. Luis Rengifo, he's batting .405 with 2 home runs, 8 RBIs in his last 11 games as well. Jackson and Rengifo both in the lineup today for the Pods. The not category, we continue to highlight Gavin Sheets. Unfortunately, he gets a day off again today against the left-handed right-hander Carson Whisenhunt. Sheets is just 5 for his last 50. He's really been going through it as of late. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for first pitch coming your way in just a little while. Now let's take a look at some Major League headlines as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you Around the Horn, presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Well, the trade deadline action is really starting to heat up in a couple of ways. First, we had a trade between the Angels and Rangers a couple of days ago, but the Mets have now traded left-handed reliever A.J. Minter to the Twins for 2 minor leaguers. The Mets scratched right-hander Freddie Peralta from his start today against the Marlins about 5 hours before first pitch because essentially, talks are going on between the Mets and other teams regarding Freddie Peralta, and they scratched him from his scheduled start. The Tigers did the same thing today. He was scheduled to start today for the Tigers in Sacramento. He is not starting, and Casey Mize is certainly somebody who could get traded from the Tigers. Speaking of the Tigers, they did call up 21-year-old Max Clark, ranked as the number 13 prospect in the game, according to MLB.com. He will join the Tigers in Sacramento and make his major league debut in center field today. Shortstop Corey Seager of the Texas Rangers was activated from the IL today, along with a few other moves made by the Rangers ahead of their pivotal series against the Houston Astros. The 32-year-old Seager missed the last 23 games with inflammation in his lower back. And finally, Rays lefty Shane McClanahan was put on the IL today with back tightness. The Rays are hopeful he'll miss only a couple of starts. And that is a look at some of the headlines from around the major leagues. I am sure we will have much more as far as trades across the sport in the days to come. We are now under 72 hours away from the trade deadline. When we come back, we'll hear from Luis Rengifo. We'll also hear from Griffin Canning a little bit later as well. Our keys to today's game and much, much more. First pitch coming up at 6:45, Game 2 of this 4-game series between the Padres and the Giants on the Padres Radio Network. SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming your way at 6:45 as the Padres take on the San Francisco Giants in Game 2 of this 4-game series. As always, our pregame coverage brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. That's 760-350-3338. Let's give you the latest on the injury front for both the Pods and the Giants.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at BadaFulkerson.com.
Well, you heard from Craig Stammen a little bit earlier. The latest on Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. The news continues to be good, both through a 2-inning live batting practice session a couple of days ago. Both were throwing today, just, doing their normal tossing. And then tomorrow sounds like if all continues to go well, they will throw a bullpen tomorrow. So we'll give you sort of the day-by-day updates now on Pivetta and Musgrove, as it seems like both those guys are getting relatively close to maybe going out on a rehab assignment. So that's the latest on Pivetta and Musgrove. As far as the Giants, they're missing a lot of guys right now. Matt Chapman is still on the IL with an abdominal strain. It does sound like he will come off the IL at some point this weekend. Harrison Bader on the IL with plantar fasciitis, although he was involved in a scooter accident a handful of days ago that further damaged his left foot. Casey Schmidt, he suffered a left meniscus tear a few days ago. He will need surgery to repair the tear and end his season. And that's a look at some of the key injuries right now for both the Giants and the Padres. Obviously, the Padres dealing with a number of other guys on the IL, like Jason Adam and Samad Taylor and David Morgan and Lucas Giolito and Miguel Andujar, but no updates today on those guys. But again, we'll continue to keep you posted on the injury front and on Joe and Nick in particular as they continue to progress. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a couple of finals already today. Yankees blanked the Cubs 2-0 in Chicago. Reds beat the Pirates 8-7 in Cincinnati already today. Games going on right now. Phillies and the Orioles in Baltimore. Phillies trailing 6-4 in the 7th inning. Cardinals and the Blue Jays tied at 1 in the 8th inning. Guardians lead the Diamondbacks 1-0 in the 8th inning in Cleveland. White Sox lead the Rays 6-1 in Tampa Bay in the 8th inning. Marlins lead the Mets 5-2 in New York in the 7th. Braves lead the Nationals 6-1 in Atlanta in the 7th inning. Astros lead the Rangers 3-0 in Houston in the 4th inning. The Royals and Rockies delayed before first pitch due to weather in Colorado right now. A few other games yet to begin. Brewers and the Angels coming up later. Tigers and the A's in Sacramento. Red Sox in LA against the Dodgers. And finally, Twins and Mariners coming up in Seattle a little bit later. And we'll have much more on all those games coming up during our post-game coverage later on this evening. Well, Luis Rengifo continues to swing the bat really well for the Padres. He's certainly been a nice contributor for San Diego so far. Rengifo back in the Padres lineup today, batting second and playing second base. I caught up with Rengifo inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Well, Luis, since you joined the big league club, you've had a lot of success at the plate. What's worked for you so far since joining the team?
Thank you for the opportunity. Just be there, be focused every single time when they give me the chance to play, and should be productive for the team.
When you reflect on earlier in the year when you were with another team, what's been the biggest difference between that time and now this time here in San Diego?
It's just like, it's baseball. Sometimes you start the season slow and just figure it out, around the road, but just the Padres gave me the opportunity, and I want to thank you for that.
Luis, you've been around a long time. You're a veteran. What have you learned over the course of your career about dealing with the ups and downs of a long season?
Just strong mind. and never stop work. Just stay in the process, be you when you want to be, and just be focused every single time when you're there.
As far as having a strong mind, is that something you always had, even going back to when you were a younger player? Is that something that you more developed as your big league career has went along?
Yeah, for me, I have strong mind, but I have persons help me too.
Yeah.
So I have my family, I have my coaches, and just they help me a lot about it think differently about the game, and so put me in the right direction to be productive.
Luis, when you look at this ball club, you had a 5-game win streak entering yesterday. You've certainly been a big part of the success of this team. You had that big home run in Miami that really sparked the win streak. What have you noticed about this club since you joined? What's your feel of the ball club?
No, we have good ball club, so we have good group here. So we have to be, stay together and keep playing every day and one day at a time, and just keep win games.
You are pretty close as far as here in the clubhouse, locker mates with Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado. First time you get the opportunity to be teammates with those guys. What's been your impression of those two guys in particular, Fernando and Manny?
No, it's nice, So they from Tati from Dominican, and I'm from Venezuela. Manny too. So we have that culture about know the game, play the right way, and just enjoy every single moment. So,
what about playing here at Petco Park so far? It's a pretty unique ballpark in the sense that you look up a Wednesday night, it's sold out, the environment's great. What's been your impression of playing here in San Diego so far?
No, I like play here. Every time when I play in other teams and come here, so you can see a full house every day, and it's really cool. It's really cool. The crowd, the fans go here and just yelling for the team, and just the support is really good.
Luis, appreciate the time. Best of luck with everything coming up. Great job so far in the Padres uniform, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Thank you.
That was tonight's second baseman, Luis Rengifo. Earlier today in the Padres clubhouse, Luis has been very good so far for the Padres. We'll see if he can continue to contribute offensively in Game 2 of this 4-game series, with first pitch coming up at 6:45. We'll hear from Griffin Canning on this Padres pitching strategy in just a moment, but right now, let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number 1, Manny against the Giants. Manny Machado, 2 for 27 with 0 RBIs against the Giants this season. Hey, Manny, we need more from you against the Giants. Just 2 hits in all these games against San Francisco, so that is key number 1 here today. Key number 2, slow down this Giants offense. The Giants have won 5 of their last 7 games. They're averaging nearly 8 runs per game in that span. They've got a couple of guys swinging the bat really well. Rafael Devers, he had 3 hits yesterday. And remember, he was robbed of a home run by Fernando Tatis Jr. Devers in his last 39 games dating back to June 13th. He's batting .284 with 13 home runs and 28 RBIs. Daniel Susac also has 3 home runs in his last 2 games after hitting none in his first 44 major league games. Although I will tell you, Susac is not in the lineup today for San Francisco, but may see Susac in there at some point today off the bench. And that's a look at a couple of quick keys to today's game. And a little bit later, we'll take a look at another Giant hitter you certainly want to keep an eye on in tonight's game. Well, the Padres continue to utilize this pitching chaos strategy, bullpenning strategy, however you want to put it, sort of stitching games together with their pitching staff, whatever terminology you want to use. The Padres are employing it right now. Really 3 out of the 5 days in their rotation. Tomorrow it'll be Walker Buehler, then Michael King on Sunday, but it will be a bullpen type of game once again here today with Bradley Rodriguez getting the start. He'll be the opener. Here was Griffin Canning on this pitching by committee strategy earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse.
It's different, yeah, but I think like I've said before, I think we're all kind of on board. We all want to win.
So any way we can help the team in any way we can, I think that's what we want to do.
Has it changed your preparation at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know exactly when I'm going to be pitching, but they're doing a good job communicating with us. So, just kind of monitoring your workload a little bit more. It kind of changes the routine a little bit, but it's not crazy different.
Griffin, can you add on a little bit to like the buy-in that you guys have had into this kind of philosophy you're going with right now? Because it would seem like the kind of plan where you do need to kind of look around that pitching staff and say, okay, we're kind of all bought in and willing to go ahead and do this for some period of time.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I haven't necessarily thrown the ball as a starter. So, like I said, I just want to help the team win. I just want to throw well. So in any, whatever role that looks like, then I'm in.
Does it change your attack mentally in terms of like firing your bullets for fewer innings versus having a plan to get through a lineup 2-3 times, that sort of thing?
Yes and no. I think kind of the way the game is now, regardless of what role you're in, like starters are going out there and throwing your best stuff right away. So yes and no.
That was Griffin Canning inside the Padres clubhouse. Earlier, some good thoughts there on the Padres' current pitching strategy. They will go again with this pitching by committee plan in Game 2 of this 4-game series against the Giants here tonight. When we come back, we'll tell you what to watch for in today's game and much, much more. First pitch coming your way at 6:45 right here on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch is coming your way at 6:45. We send things to Jesse and Tony in a little bit more than 5 minutes. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in today's game? Can the Padres once again limit the Giant leadoff hitter Luis Rengifo, a guy we know well here in San Diego? Luis went 0 for 4 last night. Even with that, he still enters today leading the major leagues in hitting with a .328 batting average. Padres were very good against Rengifo at the top of the San Francisco lineup yesterday. So, what to watch for in tonight's game? Can the Padres limit Luis Rengifo at the top of the Giants lineup once again? We shall see. Taking a look at today's starting pitching matchup, right-hander Bradley Rodriguez on the mound for San Diego in an opener role, 22 years old. He's got a 2.33 ERA in 44 appearances this season. This will be his 4th time opening a game this season, a scoreless inning in each start so far this year. 3 outings against the Giants this season, 4 combined scoreless innings, just 1 hit given up. We do expect that right-hander Germán Marquez will, well, I'm not going to guarantee, but it's likely he will play a role in today's game. So let's tell you a little bit about Germán. Padres have won each of his last 4 appearances. He's put up a 3.77 ERA in that span. Marquez in his 11 starts against San Francisco, a 9.19 ERA in his last 11 starts against the Giants. Of course, all of those against the Colorado Rockies. Or I should say with the Colorado Rockies. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Giants, left-hander Carson Whisenhunt. Whisenhunt, 2-1, a 4.60 ERA in 3 starts this season, 15 2/3 innings, 5 starts last year, a 5.01 ERA. His last start against the Angels, he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. He was a second-round pick in 2022 from East Carolina University. And that is a look at today's pitching situation for both these teams as the Padres look to bounce back in Game 2 of this 4-game series. As always, we appreciate you listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Well, it's a gorgeous Friday night here in America's finest city. Should be a fun one as the Padres try to bounce back in Game 2 of this 4-game set. When we come back, we hear from Jesse Ackler and Tony Gwynn Jr. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.